Hi guys, now that it's been a few weeks since the end of Season 1, I thought I'd give you my opinions on the episodes by ranking them from worst to best. So, in my ninth place is Dot and Bubble. This episode is basically Russell T Davies going on a rant about the cons of social media. It also only contains the Doctor and Ruby for the last 10 minutes. The best part of this episode was Ncuti Gatwa's performance when he finds out the people that he saved were just a bunch of racists. At 8th place is Space Babies. This episode isn't as much bad as just plain forgettable, and makes me wonder why Russell T Davies chose it as the first episode in the series. Even though the babies were incredibly cute, especially Eric, I found the payoff boring, since it's the same old, the Doctor never harms anything. The best part of the episode was a scene in which the Doctor says to Captain Poppy, "When was the last time you had a hug?" I think that this scene was really cute and is the sort of thing that some of the darker episodes should have contained, to lighten the tone. Coming in at 7th place is Empire of Death. Anyone who has watched my video discussing the ending of Empire of Death will know that I'm not the biggest fan of this episode. I think that the payoff completely ruined it. However, the reason I rank this episode above Space Babies is because the first half hour of it is great, but it does go downhill quite quickly from there. The best parts of this episode are all the scenes inside the memory TARDIS. These scenes are perfect for hardcore fans, since they contain so many Easter eggs from throughout Doctor Who history. At 6th place is The Church on Ruby Road. This episode was the Christmas special for 2023, and overall quite a good episode. This episode was also very successful since it set the whole series up, even though it did set up the most disappointing payoff ever as well. Although a lot of the fans don't like it, I personally think that it's quite fun, and did what it had to do well. My favourite part of the episode is when Mrs. Flood says right at the end, "Have you never seen a TARDIS before?" Since it sets up one of the biggest mysteries in Doctor Who history, which still hasn't been solved to this day. At 5th place is The Devil's Chord. This episode of Season 1 was marketed as a Beatles episode. However, the episode hardly contained the Beatles at all, and the show was more stolen by the amazing Jinx Monsoon playing Maestro. She managed to be literally terrifying and hilarious at the same time. The best part of this episode was the big musical number at the end. In 4th is the episode Boom. This episode was really hyped by fans, since it was written by the ex-showrunner Stephen Moffat, who will also be writing this year's Christmas special, hopefully. It was also, in my opinion, the first standout episode of the series. The best part of this episode for me were the knockout performances from both Ncuti and Millie as the Doctor and Ruby, since emotions were running high in both characters, and they worked off each other really well, which turned out into an amazing episode. Winning the bronze medal is Rogue. This episode had everything: danger, comedy, romance, and villains that look like something a small kid would think up. Great, right? Also, we got a famous American guest star in the form of Jonathan Groff. And, as if fans couldn't get happier enough, we actually saw Ncuti Gatwa in this episode. My favourite part of this episode is when the Doctor plays I Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue through the speakers on Rogue's ship. I feel that this scene really was the first time I felt that Ncuti Gatwa was the Doctor. The silver medal goes to The Legend of Ruby Sunday. This was the first part of the finale of this season. This episode showed us what the Empire of Death should have been like. The cliffhanger from just before the opening title sequence got fans on the edge of their seat right from the start, and kept them there throughout the rest of the episode. In my opinion, the best part of this episode was the reveal of Sutekh right at the end. They managed to do it so well that I almost got goosebumps when he appeared on the top of the TARDIS. And, for those of you who haven't worked it out already, the best episode of Season 1 goes to 73 Yards. This episode was an absolute masterclass in how an episode should be written from Russell T Davies. It was also the first chance for Ruby to show that she really was a proper companion. My favourite part of this episode was when Ruby was standing on the football field and her phone was counting up to 73 yards as she was walking backwards away from Roger Ap Gwilliam. And that concludes my list. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And if you enjoyed the video, I would like to ask you to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the Doctor Who news and discussions. Thank you.